It's greatly appreciated. So my first go around in college, I actually went to Sam Houston State University. Turns out majoring in women in beer is not actual major they look upon, and it did a lot for me as far as growing up, prioritizing, and I've definitely matured over the years. I've learned how to study because of my military experience. I had to study for all my quals on the submarine, so it was just a huge impact as far as that goes, and teaching myself how to study. And the maturity level is just above and beyond what it was my first time in college.
Being a veteran, I think, helped me the most. Was probably three different things. One was I don't get really frantic or scared about tests or quizzes or something like that. It's just it is what it is. You know, if I studied, I studied. If I didn't, I didn't. But most of the time I study. But I take the test and I wait for the grade. And I see a lot of students here. They freak out. You know, as soon as they see a test or something, they're final. They're going crazy. I don't really have that. I've never really had that issue since I've been here. And then another big one was writing papers in different classes. A lot of the students here don't really have a lot of experiences to write about, so they struggle with their writing. I haven't had that issue myself lately. Most of the papers I've written, I've read about experience in the military or some before the military, but I have enough experiences that I can write pretty good, pretty decent papers. But those are the two main things that I've noticed since I've been here that let me apart. I think the last thing would probably be not being afraid to ask a question in class. I mean, there's a lot of students that are afraid to speak up, or they don't understand something, but they don't want to, say it in front of the whole class. And it doesn't bother me to ask a question.
So, I get to be part of a different community about here, and I actually understand a lot of the Aggie traditions because they're based off the military, whereas I guarantee I never would have understood it before, and I actually get to explain it to some of my non-veteran friends, and they actually really enjoy hearing about it sometimes just because how much it relates. That first semester, my stubbornness kicked in really hard that first month, but I was doing pretty poorly in one of my classes, and I happened to come to one of these meetings, and they told us about the tutoring, and I'd heard it once before, and then I was just like, ugh. Fine, I'll try it. I'll see just once, and if I like it, I'll do it. If not, then whatever. But it was just a class that I was struggling enough where I kind of just swallowed my pride, and I went going, and I actually went from having a D to an A in the class. So it was definitely helpful, but I guarantee if that hadn't been for the veteran classes that I was taking, then I would never have actually gone, and I probably would have wanted to fail in the class.
It's definitely opened up my eyes to a lot of opportunities on campus. It's great for networking. A lot of vets don't want to ask for help, and this is kind of an easy transition to get them the information in front of them without them necessarily having to ask, because we're hard-headed sometimes and just rather figure it out for ourselves. But sometimes that's not the best answer. And they put a lot of really good information in front of us and a lot of good help. One of my best experiences with first-gen vets is they actually bring the dean from the Bush School down, and he gives a lot of really good life advice and some academic advice as well. So that's been one of my the most positive experience that I've had as far as first-generation veterans go.
I think the biggest thing about first-gen vets, when I first came here, I wasn't actually going to go to it. I went to the conference for the veterans, and Dr. Odom told me, hey, you should come out and just try it one time, and she convinced me over a few phone calls to come and try it one time, and I ended up coming. And I think the biggest thing is just being around like-minded people. Like we were talking about earlier, some people that get out, they're not usually acclimating to the normal civilian life, or just the way that other people act. So being around like-minded people, and then they're really good on you hear about all the resources at the conferences, or the new student conferences, or the veteran conference. You hear about all these resources, but you don't really know how to use them, or what to do to get to them, or the different aspects of them. And first generation vets, they take you through all the steps, and they really break down everything and show you how to do things here. And it makes it a lot easier to get a hold of those resources, or just to know about them more, so you have that option to go to those if you need to.
I think it has more, less professional, but more personal for me. It's given me a place to go and have those friends that are other veterans, because I actually do like the personality of veterans. It's this little thing that we all have. It's so easy to spot a veteran. All you got to do is talk to them for 5 minutes, and you'll spot that and be like, "You're a veteran, aren't you?" And they're like, "Yep." "So are you, right?" "Yep."